Hi guys, welcome to my brand new course on building up the voice assistant with Python. Our voice assistant will automate our daily tasks like play music, search on YouTube, search on Wikipedia, open up the applications, and many more tasks. You can see till the end of this course. And also many organizations are using Jarvis or you can see a voice assistant to automate their daily tasks. So that's why the voice assistant are very important. So that's why you can say that this course is very important to learn. After completing this course, you will be able to automate your own daily tasks, like what you do daily. I hope you will learn more in this course. I will meet you in the next lecture. Thank you. Let's look at the requirement for that course. First of all, you need Python, like the programming language. If you are absolute beginners and don't know how to do programming, then you don't need to worry because I have made the content very clearly and simple so that you can understand. The second requirement is integrated development environment. You can use any IDE which you like PyCharm, Item, but I'm gonna use Jupyter Notebook. Third requirement, which is for me, it is more significant than the rest of these two, Python and IDE is willpower because without willpower, the rest of these two requirement, Python IDE, will be insignificant. So you need a willpower to complete this course. Now let's create a virtual environment for our project. For that, we have open CMD and we have to write Python, Python, Python. Now we go to that Python 3.8.8. Now we have to check also if we have installed successfully pip or not. Pip is basically a package manager which we use to install or import the libraries. So let's type pip and press enter. If you get the result like that I got, then you have successfully installed pip as well. Now we are ready to create a virtual environment. But now let's see why we are creating a virtual environment. Virtual environment is very important in building up our project. Like why? The answer is that like you are building or you are working on two different projects, and one of your project like need a library with the older version, and your other project need a library with the newer version. So if you are importing or installing a library on a single space or on a one place, then there must be a large possibility that one of your library in other project will not work. So in order to avoid that problem, we have to create a virtual environment. In that case, the if you import a library in a virtual environment, then this one library will only for that project only. It will not mess up the other project. So that's why we usually create a virtual environment. So I'm gonna create a virtual environment using Anaconda and Navigator. We have to type Anaconda and open up Anaconda and Navigator. It will take some time to open up. Once the Anaconda Navigator is open, you can see that on the left hand side the environment. Click on environment. Now to create an environment, click on create. Now I will have to name the environment. I will name it AI. AI voice assistant. We have sharpened our knives. We have gather all the resources which are necessary to build up the project, and we have the willpower, which is very much essential to complete this project. From lecture now onward, we are actually start coding. In this lecture, we'll make our Jarvis to read. For that purpose, I'm gonna use pyttsx3 library. We have other libraries installed in Python, but this library works offline as well. This library used to convert any text to speech. This is also called text to speech library. This works offline as well and is also compatible with both versions of Python, Python 2 and Python 3. So let's see how we can use this library. For that purpose, let's go on my Jupyter notebook. Now I'm on my Jupyter notebook. Before starting the coding, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I'm gonna use many libraries in this project. So some libraries I will install and some library I will not install, because some libraries are inbuilt libraries. If some libraries are inbuilt, then don't need to install it, you just need to import it. But if they are external libraries that are not inbuilt, then you have to install it. Since pyttsx3 is not an inbuilt library in Python, so we have to install it using our pip package manager. You have to write pip and instll install and the name of the library you want to install. Pip install is like a common command which are gonna use many times whenever you want to write like install any package. You have to write pip install. Pip means you are using a pip package manager to install, and then at the end you have to give the name you want to install. pyttsx3 star means it other cell is running. In order to run this cell, you can either use a run command by clicking on run, or you can use a keyboard shortcut key shift plus enter. I am gonna use the from this project onward shift plus enter. Requirement already satisfied. It means I have already. If you are using first time, then you will see a line at the end successfully installed. Now we have to import it, because without importing you cannot use this library. You have to import pyttsx3. We have to create engine dot py. As you can either write pyttsx3 completely, or after writing a initial letter, just write tab. It will autocomplete, and then hit dot, and then you can type again. It will tell all the functions which are comes under pyttsx3. I'm gonna use init. After initializing it, this function is very much important. Basically, this function is doing creating a connection between engine and pyttsx3 dot initializer. Initializers come with many functions which we are gonna use by using engine. So the first function is I'm gonna using that tab dot what the function is say. I'm using the function is say welcome to my course. After that, you have to write engine dot run and wait function. This function is very much important. It makes your system to listen the speech, or you can say the speech will be audible to your system. If you don't use this function into your engine to run and wait, then none of the speech will be audible to your system. So I'm gonna use a shift plus enter shortcut key to run this cell.
Welcome to my course.
In the previous lecture, we make our Jarvis to read aloud, a speak function which basically do the same task like from converting text to speech. But we are using function, because by using function we can use the same code again. Just need to like call the function and the code will run. Or in case any error occur, we can easily handle it. So that's why we are using function. So let's see how we can use a speak function or create a speak function. Let's go to the Jupyter notebook. For that I'm using for creating a function we use a def keyword, and then we write the name of the function. We're gonna write speak function engine py ttx3 dot init engine dot say text engine dot run and wait. This speak function will need a text, or you can say any text to that convert text to speech. So let's run this function. No error occur. So let's call this function. Whenever you write a function, the function will not run it unless you call it. So we have to call the function by its name. This function need a text as an argument. So I'm gonna write hi Jarvis. Here's spelling mistake.
Hi Jarvis.
Okay, that's working. So we don't need to like this line of code. So that's why I'm gonna erasing these lines, and everything else is fine.
Hi Jarvis.
In the previous lecture, we make our Jarvis to read aloud a speak function, which basically do the same task like from converting text to speech. But we are using function. Because of by using function, we can use the same code again. Just need to like call the function and the code will run. Or in case any error occur, we can easily handle it. So that's why we are using function. So let's see how we can use a speak function or create a speak function. Let's go to Jupyter Notebook. That I'm using for creating a function we use a def keyword, and then we write the name of the function. We're gonna write speak function engine py ttx3 dot init engine dot say text engine dot run and wait. This speak function will need a text, or you can say any text to that convert text to speech. So let's run this function. No error occur. So let's call this function. Whenever you write a function, the function will not run it unless you call it. So we have to call the function by its name. This function need a text as an argument. So I'm gonna write hi Jarvis. Here's spelling mistake.
Hi Jarvis.
Okay, that's working. So we don't need to like this line of code. So that's why I'm gonna erasing these lines, and everything else is fine.
Hi Jarvis.
In the previous lecture, we created a speak function. And in this lecture, we are gonna add our time function that our Jarvis gonna tell our time. When we ask for the time, our Jarvis will tell us time. What time is now? For that purpose, we're gonna use a date and time module because there's no date and time data type in Python. For that purpose, in order to deal with date and time in Python, there's an inbuilt date and time module. So we are gonna use date and time module to deal with time. So let's go to Jupyter Notebook. So see how we can use date and time module. Since I told you that date and time modules is a inbuilt function, so we don't need to install date and time module. We just need to import it. So I'm gonna use import keyword and name of the module that we are gonna import date time. Now we can use it. I will make the function by a function keyword def time equal to date dot date time dot now. It means what time is now. We are gonna use string format time strft. strf time basically returns the string representation of the date and time object. So it basically takes at least 2 or 3 arguments. I'm gonna give a percentage capital H colon percentage capital M colon percentage S. It means it will give us time in hour, minute, and then second. So let's use the speak function to get the time. I'm gonna print the time as well. Let's run this code. Now we have to call the function.
1 hour 42 minutes and 3 seconds.
Time is now 1:42 3 and 1 hour 42 minutes 3 seconds. In the previous lecture, we add the functionality in our Jarvis AI Assistant to tell us time. Now we are gonna add the functionality in our assistant to tell us date. For that purpose, we are gonna use the same date time module. So let's go back to the Jupyter notebook so we can look at the practical work. I will use the def keyword to create add function date year datetime dot datetime dot now. It means what's the year now dot year and month is equal to datetime dot datetime dot now dot month and day for the day datetime dot datetime dot now dot day. We are going to speak function to speak what the year now, to speak what is the month now, and to speak what is the day now. I'm also gonna print it year month and day as well. Let's run this code. We have to call the function to run the code under the indentation level of this function.
2022. 7. 7.
You can see the year is 2022 and month is 7, which is July, and the date is also 7, which is 7. So it is okay, or we can use like short this code and get the date, all the like date, year, month, and day in one line. So we're gonna use a string format time, which we used earlier in the previous lecture. So let's see how we can use it. Def date equal at date time dot date time dot now dot strf time percentage a colon percentage small d colon. I will tell you representation of these keywords a, d, and d. Let me complete this code first. The percentage a keyword tells us the full day, like what's the day, and percentage small d tells us date, what is the date today, and percentage b tells us the month, and this tells us the year. So let's using speak function date and print this date as well. Let's run this code. Let's call this function.
Thursday 07 July 2022.
Now you can see our percentage capital A style is a complete day. Complete day is Thursday. And that's a day in date is 7th. B tells us the month, complete name of the month, and capital Y tells us a year. So it's Tuesday. So now it's Thursday, 7th of July 2022. So this is better than the previous one. So we will like read this code. So don't need it. But you must have learned it. But we can do it either this way or the way. I will prefer this one. So I'm gonna read this one. If you wanna like delete the cell, you just need to like select the cell and press this scissor icon, and again the scissor icon. If you wanna like add this cell under it or above it, you can select the cell, the plus sign. The plus sign will get a cell under it. If you wanna move it above, you can use this button, or do down, you can use this button. I guess welcome back. In the previous lecture, we added the functionality of date function in our Jarvis. Now we are gonna add the functionality of greeting. Like when we run our Java, it will greet us according to the time. If it is a morning, it will say good morning. If it is a like afternoon, it will say afternoon. If it's evening, it will say good evening, or else it will say good night. For that purpose, we need date a time to because our Javas will like check the time, and the time from the perspective of time, it will say good morning or good evening, good night. Now I'm in a Jupyter notebook. For that purpose, I will also like make a function by using a def keyword. Now you name of the function, wish me, then a colon sign. You have to get hour, daytime, dot daytime, dot now, dot hou. It will basically tell us the time in hour. Hour means 24-hour watch clock, not a 12-hour watch clock. It's basically 24-hour watch clock, and will tell us our only time in hour only. Like it's 12, it's 13, 14, something like that. We're gonna use if and else condition. If hour is less than, or you can say greater than 6, and hour less than 12, it means it is morning. So it will say speak good morning sir. Alif hour greater than 12 and hour less than 18, it means afternoon. Speak good afternoon. Alif hour greater than 18 and hour less than 24, then speak good evening. Else, of course, more than 24, yeah, more than 24, it means it's gonna be night now. It will say good night, it's time to go to bed. Let's run this code. And now call this function wish me.
Good night.
In the previous lecture, we basically added the functionality of greetings in our voice assistant. In this first lecture, I make the Jarvis to read. In this lecture, basically I gave the tongue to our voice assistant. Like tongue mean it was basically reading the text. Now I'm gonna giving ears to the Jarvis and it's gonna listen. So that's why I'm saying ears to our Jarvis voice assistant. For that purpose, I'm gonna using a speech recognition module or speech recognition library. This is a library which basically makes a machine to listen and recognize the spoken words. Since this library is not pre-installed, so we have to install it. I'm gonna create a style under this one, so the code is like more structured. We're gonna pip install speech recognition. Spying that okay. Now let's run this line. Successfully installed. It means the speech recognition library has been installed. Now we have to import it. So let's get a cell under it. Import speech recognition as SR because speech recognition is long word. So we had that's why I'm importing as SR as short word. Now imported. So let's create a function def listen audio SR dot recognizer class. Asset recognizer basically a class you can say it's a magic class because all the functions which are done by the speech recognition module are basically done inside this class. So that's why it's called a recognizer, a magic class with sr dot microphone as source print alias listening equal to 1. Order post threshold mean is equal to 1 means it's gonna be like wait for 1 second to allow like to let you finish so that you can recognize what you are saying. Dot listen from source because source is a microphone. Try in order to recognize the voice which you are saying is using our dot recognize Google. It means it's basically a Google Web API. So for recognizing the voice by using our Google Web API, you must have a valid internet connection. Otherwise, you are not gonna able to use this API. So you're gonna recognize the audio which you're gonna saying by using a microphone. It takes another argument like language, like in which language you're gonna using command. It's basically you can say English language English Indian, or you can say language US as well. So let's say it's and language US. print query accept exception se print e and print say again please. Oops, audio function. This is error. Now let's see that's the error. I said out microphone is a function basically. Listening. Hello Jarvis. We have basically give tongue and air to our Javas and we added some functionality. So from now I will giving the entry point for our Javas mean we added some code so that our interpreter knows from where to run the code. Instead of writing each and every code, I just want to run only functions, only special functions only. So let's see how we can do this in the Jupyter notebook. So let's see if level slash name equal to main. We'll first run the wish me function. Like whenever we run the Jarvis, it basically first greet us according to the time, and then we will write while give so because we don't want to like they run the Java again and again, so that's why we are putting this function in a while loop. While true query listen and dot low lawyer if time in query then run the speak function and time, basically on the time function elif date in query speak date function. So let's see how it work.
Good night.
What time Jarvis? What date Jarvis? What date? Now you can see it's listening, also working. In the previous lecture, we basically added the entry point to our program. Whenever the interpreter meets with the quit function, it basically terminates all the execution of the program completely. So let's see how we can do it. Let's go to Jupyter Notebook. I will create the function def exit now. Since we defined the function, so in order to add the function in your main code, you have to write elif. But we want to say I want to say go offline. Inside say go offline in query query, then run the exit function. Since internet is the largest and stand-alone source for getting the information, so we need to know how to fetch information from the internet. For that purpose, Wikipedia is the best and the largest source for getting information. So in this video, we're gonna learn how to our Jarvis fetch information from internet using Wikipedia. So for that purpose, we're going to use the Wikipedia library. Wikipedia library basically wrapping up all the official Wikipedia API. So instead of using official Wikipedia API, we will use Wikipedia library and we will install it using the pip package manager. Let's go to the Jupyter notebook and see how we can use it. First, we have to install the Wikipedia library. We use the keyword pip install Wikipedia library. So let's run this code. Requirement already satisfied means the library has been installed successfully. So now we have to import the library. We use the keyword import Wikipedia. So let's run this code as well. Import Wikipedia. Now we have to create a function. So let's create a function here. Def search query listen audio dot lawyer or query dot replace Wikipedia with blank, and then rsur results is equal to wikipedia dot summary of summary of query under the sentence of 3 only. We are replacing Wikipedia with none. Why? Because I will say Salman Khan Wikipedia, this command. So it will Jarvis knows that he has to search Salman Khan on Wikipedia, not Wikipedia Salman Khan. So because these two are different, searching Salman Khan is different, searching Wikipedia Salman Khan is different. So that's why we are isolating our main keyword from the rest. So that's why I'm replacing Wikipedia. If you are showing something different, then you can use the replace command again and again until you are isolating completely your main keyword, which is Salman Khan or Python, what you want to search on Wikipedia. So that's why I'm using a keyword replace function. Then result Wikipedia summary is an inbuilt function to summarize the result. Instead of getting all the Wikipedia complete page on Salman Khan or whatever, print the result and speak as well. We have to add this code under this elif, or I can say I will say use the word keyword Wikipedia. Whenever I recognize this keyword, it will run the function Wikipedia in query, and we run the function as search Wikipedia in query Salman Khan Wikipedia.
Abdul Rashid Salim Salman Khan, Hindi, SLMNXN, December 27,
Let's see how this works.
1965,
Thank
is
you.
an Indian actor.
In the previous we learned how we can add the functionality in a Java that you can search something from Wikipedia. So now we are adding new functionality to search something using our YouTube. For that purpose, we are using a web browser library. It's an open source pre-built library in the Python that used to control the web browser. So let's create a function here. Before that, we have to import the library web browser because it's an inbuilt library, so we don't need to install it. Import PROWSE web browser. Now we have to create a function def YouTube. What do you want to search? A speak function. Say what do you want to search? After that I will have a search function using input function and say write the search term. It will save on search. Now use web browser. Let's see, first import web browser as a short word because web browser is a large word. So let's short web browser as WBS. Okay, now come back here, WP, and we have to give the path to the YouTube. So let me first, I will show you like how the YouTube path works. First let's open the YouTube. If I search here like physics lab, the channel, then you can see that the link is like that. It's https://www.youtube.com result search query. After query is physics lab how to academy. After query equal whichever search is after the query. Before that is a predefined link for YouTube. So I will have to provide a link. https:// www.byoutube.com results after result is search search query and equal. After that is a search term which I'm gonna search on it, which is basically save on search. So like and that's it. So let's call this function YouTube and see how this works. Now you can see it's opening a YouTube. So let's add this function a code in our main code. Now I will say elif search on YouTube in query, then run the YouTube function. In this way we're gonna add the functionality in our Jarvis to search something from Google. The same process is again here. We are gonna use a web browser library. We have already imported the library, so you don't need to import it again. We just need to like build up a function def Google. We first define like what we are gonna search on Google. For that I write search term input sorry Google wp dot open, it will give us a link https colon www.google.com ser search q, other way to write qd complete word or q only is okay, and concatenate two strings which is search yes, yeah, in search term equal है search on Google in query and have to write Google function. Let's see how it works.
Hi Jarvis. 3 hours 30 minutes and 35 seconds. Thursday 07 July 2022. Good night.
Hello.
Good night.